Hi, everyone. Good evening. I don't know where you're calling from. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming in today. A moment during the pandemic that you felt proud of what you're doing.
Right? Well, when you save every day you save life, you're proud to become a doctor. Even if it was a harrowing event, going through medical school. It's like the military, going through medical school, like going through military school. But yes, every day you save life, it makes you proud. And I got even prouder of the people who work relentlessly on a daily basis, doing research and to make sure that we find a solution to the pandemic that ravaged our world so badly. Earth was sick at that time. Mother Earth was sick, and thank God we begin to really recover from it. I must commend all those great scientists, doctors and lab scientists and technicians and genetic coders and all those people who did stuff to ensure that we are here where we are now. We have reports to do this. One of the biggest fear that was had there was the mRNA technology that came out. Was a name some people must have heard of. Catalina Caracco, who's an Hungarian immigrant that came to this country, was working on some of the building blocks of the mRNA technology. And when she actually did bring that up, our intention was to treat metabolic disease, arthritis, and everything else. But then when the whole world, and she was ridiculed. They made fun of her. She said they couldn't even give her tenureship in her university and everything else because they just thought it was impossible, that this was ridiculous and it couldn't work. And initially, she had some problems with it, making it stable enough. And some of the mice she worked with were really sick and they died. But they found out that the uridine component of that RNA was the effect of that, the reason why they were dying. So collaborating again is so important. And when she went to one of these conferences, met a gentleman, I can't remember his name, who they worked together, identify what was in the mRNA that she was working on, and found out it was the uridine, knocked it off with their genetic coding, and then made it safe. Now, the problem then was to make it stable enough for delivery. Now, they didn't know how to do that, so they had to find a way. Again, collaborating with somebody she met, and an individual who spoke in the in the scientific community, where somebody in 1972 wrote about a component, the glycoprotein. And that's why sometimes you hear somebody talk of nanoprotein and all that, where people were talking, oh, nanoprotein is going to, because they hear nanotechnology is going to change your DNA. No, it was nanoprotein. Again, that's why half-baked knowledge is dangerous. So, but this technology, how to make it stable, was actually first done in 1972. There's a gentleman, I think Alfred something, who Livingston, I'm not sure now, but he did this work. And when he wrote that article, they made fun of him. They were big, large molecules. And when he wrote about it, people say it's impossible. How would you create a method where large particles will be injected and then begin to really dissipate and go into the individual? So they made fun of him. He was ridiculed. But then guess what? When these two people met, unsteady, easily degradable, found a method where you can make it steady and safe to inject it, voila. Then they found a way to have it delivered, and that's where the whole world came about. So all this technology, they just didn't wake up to do it. Yeah. It's been work in process. It's been work in progress. And there are actually studies, reports that it was actually used for Zika. If you remember the Zika virus, nobody heard about Zika. You understand? All pregnant women were afraid. They couldn't travel. They couldn't, Zika everywhere. But you don't hear of it anymore because these things were used in managing diseases. So it's not just today. So for those of you who are there, I'm afraid, I don't know. Look, this technology is not just wake up. They've been doing this for a while. And way back, the whole component from 1970, great minds, we must respect them, elevate them, and edify them. So wow. That's what it is.
Doctor, thank you so much. But we still have some few questions, just about 2 or 3. Let's think back to when you were 17 years old.
That's a long time ago.
That's a long time. What would be your advice for 17 years old now? Any 17 years old out there?
Well, I tell people this. Fortunately enough, I knew what I wanted to do when I was 4 years old.
Hmm.
I knew what I wanted to do. I was 4 years old. I told my parents, I told everybody, and my dad who was a military officer, was magnanimous enough to understand who I am and what I want, and he was very encouraging to ensuring that I get to, where he paved the way. God bless his soul now. Um, but again, so everything I did then, I did towards heading towards medical school. Everything. The only other thing I knew how to do was play soccer at that time. So it was either soccer or medical school. So, and I remember when I used to go play soccer, God bless my auntie, Sister Grace, she used to like, this boy, you will not read, you will not read. It was just soccer. But then I had a focus. I knew what I wanted to do, and I was working towards it at every time. So yes, at 17, getting ready to go to. Oh, sorry, I was getting ready to go into medical school, ABU, and all that at that time, and so it was working towards it. But our advice to what I know now: first, identify who you are. Period. Know who you are. As a 17-year-old, you're wise enough and big enough to understand what the future holds and what is out there for you. When we were growing up, there was no internet. There was no what we have now. I mean, if you needed to read anything, you have to go to the library, sign the form, and pull on, and then they'll give you the paper. It's all dusty. You have to go through. We don't have that. Everything's in the palm of our hand right now. So the world is in your hand. You can do anything with it. So what do you do? If you're not sure, research, read, look up stuff. And if you're not convinced, then ask somebody who you think you know. You understand? So first identify yourself, know what your strengths are and your weaknesses are. Know what resources you have around you. When I mean resources, what time you need to allocate for something, what are the monies you can to achieve what you can, what are the people that surround you that will help you get to where you need to get to, meaning from your mom and dad, who are they? From your brother, sister, uncle, aunties. And we live in a community society where we have some of these people who are helpful to do that. And then in your environment, look at those who are around you who can help you as well. Then choose your friends. Choose those who are the same wavelength as you. Like they say, like minds congregate together. Best of the same feather congregates together. So choose the same people who are like minds of you, who want to achieve the same dreams that you are, and select among them, and then choose the good things out of them. But more so, get a mentor. One of the things that we don't have in our environment is a mentorship program. We really don't. That's another lecture on another day. What we have, the African, environment, we did have a mentorship culture, but that was destroyed with, imperialism and colonization. It was destroyed, and we no longer have that. And we know how long these guys were here, so we no longer have that. What we have now is a guardianship culture. A guardianship meaning I'll take you, I'll show you what to do, but you never surpass me. I'll teach you, I'll show you, but I'll still be the boss. But mentorship is a different. I'll give you all the resources, time, money, intellect. I'll create the environment for you to grow. I'll push you forward so that you grow and even surpass me. That's what mentors do. So you look for a great mentor. And you can have multiple mentors in different areas. In the field you're going to, in the field of looking for resources for money, in the field of intellectual and calming ability to keep you on the grounded, in the mentorship in the area of social justice, so all of those, you can have multiple mentors. So, but then pick what is best in each and every one of those mentors and create a template for yourself. I also give this analogy. Michael Jackson became one of the best in his field, even the best. But what he did, he sought out all the individuals who had come before him, who were with him in his time, and took steps out of them, from Fred Astaire, from James Brown, to all those people, created a unit that suits him, who he is. Like I always tell my young doctors, you can never practice the way Dr. Aluya practice. You can only practice the way you can practice, because you only practice based on what your culture and your experience you've lived with all your life that's molded you into who you are. So pick the best out of every of your doctors or your professors or whatever you have now. Create a style for yourself, just like Michael Jackson created a style for himself. So that's how best you can become the most impactful, not just successful, the most impactful human being that you ever be.
Oh my God, doctor. You know, CTY Music said something here. He said, you forgot to say that you always dance to Michael Jackson song. No wonder, no wonder you were
That
able
guy
to
know
give
we reach
that.
house. That guy know we reach house.
No wonder you were able to give
Music.
that.
Shout
If you
out.
watch it, CTY Music, I just be watching. No wonder you were able to now give that analogy. Very, very amazing. You know, Doctor, I know that you are involved in so many charitable works.
Oh.
Yeah, and
That is so
yeah,
sweet.
both
Thank you.
both
I love
in
that.
Jamaica.
Look
Yeah,
at me. Look at me looking like 17-year-old.
look at you.
Those
That's
are my
you
kids.
there.
Those are my children in I go to Jamaica every year.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why Jamaica. Because when
Okay.
I wanted to do and thank you for bringing up that picture. It really
You're
means a
welcome.
whole lot.
You're welcome.
Why Jamaica? People will say, why not Nigeria? Because look, I wanted to give back and do medical missions. But then I sat back and I asked God, where should I go? I mean, I want to go to Nigeria. I want to go everywhere. But, and I'll tell you the story about the older guy, the guy you see here later.
Yeah.
I went to find out where I wanted to go, but I just didn't know. So I prayed about it and I left it like that. And I waited because that's how I do stuff. If I want to do something, I plan towards it. I sit, then I wait on God to show me. He will, because you have to ask purposefully. You have to ask purposefully. You approach God the way you and I are talking now. He's your father. You talk to him. I mean, whether you're Muslim, Christian, those things don't matter. He didn't create those religions. He created humanity. So, but and we we so and then the opportunity came. It's so funny. My dear sister, who I call my Jamaican sister, Sister Lynette Davis. I met her by sheer chance over a phone call, and I didn't know who she was. I didn't, and then eventually that's how I started going to Jamaica, and that's where we are. Is I think 1,600 feet above sea level, really high up in the mountains. Over there, they call it country. It's in Bunkers Hill, Clarendon Parish. Bunkers Hill is a village of Bunkers Hill, Clarendon Parish in Jamaica. So we've been going there every year, except for this last year, the year of the COVID. We go there, we built a clinic over there. Again, it's giving back to humanity. It doesn't matter where they are, we're giving back and saving lives. So the old man who you see, every year I'm going to miss him. I pray he's still alive. He is 98 years old. And when I first
Wow.
started, he was, I think, just 90. He just turned 90 or 89 or so. So I see him every year and he comes to meet me. And Pap, he's alone, never had a child. He was married for over 70 years, then the wife died. At this age, he's still doing his own farm and all that. So I bring a little gift to him every year. As I see him, it's a real pleasure when I see him, and I pray he's still up. I reached out, to inquire him about him. And then the baby, of course, and all the children were sitting in front of the school, the Bunker High School that they created. If you look around, you see they're all wearing their uniforms and they're very neat. One of the things I give to those Jamaicans, they're really very neat. The principle of cleanliness in less to godliness, they have it. I swear. They have that. I mean, up in the village, wherever they are, you see them clean, the shoes, the socks, always clean, even if they don't have that much money. If you go into their homes, they welcome you with all their hearts, and their house is clean, neat. And thanks to Pastor Faye Sewars, who helped build the school, and that's the daughter of Sister Lynette Davis, who's right there in blue. So it's a great pleasure and an honor to do this every year. Hopefully, this year we'll be able to go to Jamaica and continue our work with it. We built a clinic, so we want to continue.
Wow, this is good.
Yeah.
Well, when you're going this time, myself, my ministry, my family will sponsor you as well.
Great, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
We are in. We bring you joy.
Yes, we have not just doctors, we have nurses, we have librarians, who come to rearrange the school for them. We have counselors who counsel, the kids. We have pastors who come pray in church for the families and all that. So we have a whole lot of people. So if anybody who wants to join, look us up. It's Impact Health, Impact Life International. We're out there doing great things up in the country of Jamaica.
No, that's good. I'm going to send you more information so that we can join straight away and get involved in what you're doing. Thank you so much. So much. A final word for someone out there.
Well, I'll tell you this. Final word. Again, I had alluded to the fact that we should not, in 10, 20, 40 years from now, beg that they take their knee off our necks. And I'll say this, that you and I, sitting here, and those who are in their homes watching right now, were the most educated, most informed, and enlightened of any Black person of the Black race walking the surface of the earth right now. So if you and I cannot change our status as it is, as Black people now, then who will? If it's not now, then when? And I say this, that we must work hard together. And I talked about collaborating and identify who and where our powers are so that we can put them together to create impact. And that impact is where we get to the global space where we also will dominate like every other race. But for some people who've heard me talk, for us to dominate, we must control 3 M's. And I call it 3 M's. And for the African, I said the 4th M. For any race to dominate, they must control 3 M's. The first M is money. The second M is military. The third M is media. Because you control money. With money, you buy the military to protect your money. And with the media and the money, you can buy media and sell your agenda and sell your race. And that's what everybody's done. If you see the Chinese, what did they do? They went first after the money. And they used the money to buy military to protect themselves. And we see what's happening in Southeast China, the seas, China seas and all that. And now they're trying to buy the military. They're trying to buy media, TikTok, Huawei, and all those things. So you see, they understand that. We as a people must understand it as well. And like I said earlier on, there's an outsider and insider approach. All Black people must come together and have that insider-outsider approach and see those 3 M's that we must begin to learn to control so that we can dominate. But again, before we do that, we must redevelop, I'll say, a culture of mentorship where we begin to identify those in amongst us who have the capacity, or not just the capacity, but the trust to lead us and lead our people. So that all 4 M's, money, military, media, and mentorship will correct. So that as a race, we'll continue to dominate and we can dominate. Because when we do that, then we can settle all the problems of poverty in Africa. We settle the problem of disease, human trafficking, child trafficking, our young boys going across the border and dying in the seas, the corruption that we talk about, and all the strife that's happening to all of Africa. We'll be able to do that just like the Chinese are doing. But we must begin to do that. Take a play role from everybody else who've been successful and done great things as well, to do the things that we are doing so that we can continue to dominate and do great things. Thank you.
Doctor, I want to say thank you so much.